In small-town, rural Wisconsin, Jason Volz grew up at a dairy farm. Every day after school, he helped his parents tend to the farm. So how did this small-town farm boy from Wisconsin become a leader at one of Las Vegas's top casinos? Where does his leadership skills come from? During my interview with Jason, I found that through learning and on-the-job experience, Jason was able to become not only a manager, but also an effective leader. Jason is my husband, and previous to his role as an assistant casino manager in the slot department, Jason had no other previous management experience. His story shows us that through observation and on-the-job experience and learning, you can become an effective leader. When I asked Jason how he would describe himself as a leader, he said that he was compassionate and fair. He stated that since he has worked in a similar capacity as his employees, he understands what their job entails and has a lot of empathy for them. I followed up this question by asking how his leaders would describe him. Jason thinks I would describe him in a similar way, as compassionate and fair, caring and kind, yet focused on attaining goals, that he would make work fun for them. He also states that they would say he is a good leader and they enjoy working with him. I was now curious as to who Jason's biggest role model was in his career. He says that it was his former vice president of casino operations named Toby. Toby was a good leader because he was firm and stern, yet fair and reliable. Jason learned that it is important to build trust and respect within your team, and that people who trust their leaders will work harder for them. Toby was clearly a good leader who taught Jason a lot, but what about bad leaders? Had Jason experienced this? It turns out he had, and a few bad leaders in his career showed him that being on a power trip doesn't work, and not to use your position of power to belittle your followers. I followed this up by asking what this experience taught him, and Jason said that this was not the best way to build a team. People who are made to feel dumb or inadequate will have a hard time following a leader. Next, I was curious as what Jason would say his biggest accomplishment as a leader was. He said that he was handpicked to go and open the Horseshoe Casino in Cleveland, and this was a big deal to him because there are 10 to 15 other slot managers, and he was chosen as one of 5 from his company to go and do that, and it made him feel really good and proud that his work mattered. The next question I asked Jason was how he motivates his team. He says he uses open communication, and he clearly explains his expectations and gives the team attainable goals. He feels that when people are motivated and are trusted and given freedom to do things their own way, they will produce better results. Next, I asked Jason what challenges he has faced. He said his biggest challenge as a leader is that sometimes people try and walk all over him and take advantage of him because he is so nice. I followed up this question by asking Jason what he did to overcome these challenges. Jason states that to overcome these challenges, he sits down with his employees and reaffirms his expectations and goals with the employees. He says that sometimes the employees just needs to hear them again and be reminded that there is a common goal and a common focus. Jason says that sometimes he'll rely on his other coworkers for help if things aren't going the way he needs them to. But usually he says that once they are aware that you're watching their actions, they will usually shape up and work hard to perform to those expectations. And finally, I wanted to know what advice Jason would give to a newly promoted leader like himself who had no previous experience. Jason says that he has a few pieces of advice. The first piece of advice would to remember who you are. If you're trying to act like someone else when you're promoted, people will see right through that and not trust you. Don't act different to who you were before you were promoted. He also says it's important to ask your peers questions and observe their leadership styles. He says you can learn a lot about what works and doesn't work by simply watching other people handle different situations. Most importantly, Jason states that being open and honest and listening to feedback from your employees is important because they will directly tell you or show you what you could do better to help them. Through Jason's answers and knowing his previous work history, I can conclude that leadership is something he learned along the way. He honed in his skills of leadership through on-the-job experience and his open and honest style. Jason's employees love him, and he truly acts like a servant leader in the crazy casino industry.